the chamber. Because now nobody is hungry. For people that are standing outside. Ask Tikanelo, she knows. Hold the chair, Tiki. Hold the chair, Tiki. Jump. Oh, yeah. Push me. Okay. Councillors, we are starting. Can we settle down? We are going to the next item. Councillor Whistler, all those in that, yeah, come, can we start?
Welcome back, councillors. We are resuming with item 8, and that is the performance assessment report for the Environment, Infrastructure and Services Department for the 2024-25 financial year for the period January to March 2025, read together with item 9, which is the performance assessment report for the City Power Johannesburg Limited for the 2024-25 financial year. For the period January to March 2025, also read with item 10, which is the performance assessment report for Johannesburg Water Limited for the 2024-25 financial year for the period January to March 2025, also read with item 11, and that's your performance assessment report for Pick It Up Johannesburg for the 2024-25 financial year for the period January to March 2025, and lastly read with item 12, and that's an oversight report of the Section 79 Environment and Infrastructure Services Committee on the 2023-24 third quarter performance assessment report of the Environment and Infrastructure Services Department, Pick It Up Johannesburg, Johannesburg Water, and Johannesburg City Power for the period January to March 2025.
Thank you, Secretary to Council, Councillor Ahmed, and Councillor Spetlele. Member in charge, Councillor Munyai.
Greetings to you, Madam Speaker. Greetings to the Executive Mayor, the MMC, fellow councillors. I rise to table the performance assessment, item 8, the Department of Environment, item 9, City Power, item 10, Johannesburg Water, item 11, Pick It Up, read together with item 12, Oversight Report of Section 79 Committee.
Thank you, Member in charge. Councillor Cook from Good.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Speaker, we presented today with 4 separate performance reports, but we mustn't make the mistake of thinking that this is not one crisis with 4 names. The 4 names being EISD, City Power, Joburg Water, and Pick It Up. They have different logos, but they have the same systemic rot. Let's talk plainly. City Power posted 600 million rands worth of losses this quarter. That's double from last year. The overdraft sits at 15 billion rand, and interest payments have blown past budget by 700 million rand. Residents are being punished with price hikes while the entity bleeds money through procurement inefficiency and losses. Johannesburg Water reports only 76 households received basic water access in informal settlements. 76 households. That's not transformation, that's a trickle. Burst pipe response times and sewer clearance are both below target, and half the capital budget is unspent. Pick It Up has only spent 31% of its capital budget. 71% of valid invoices weren't paid, triggering contractor strikes and even landfill permit violations. While bins get delivered, illegal dumping keeps returning, especially in our most neglected wards. And from EISD, the department meant to integrate and oversee this entire portfolio, we see zero capital spend on air quality infrastructure, staff vacancy rates at 49%, and a complete breakdown in delivery momentum. This is not about isolated underperformance. This is an institutional pattern, a failure of political oversight, budget discipline, and service equity. We must respond with more than concern. As Good, we know that the residents of Riverlea, Eldorado Park, Westbury, and Westdean, and even Ennerdale have had enough. Every day, residents across Johannesburg have to deal with their electricity being off, the taps running dry, burst water pipes, and the streets piled full of rubbish. Every day it's getting worse, and no one is being held accountable. We must stop governing in silos. We must stop applauding PowerPoint compliance, and we must start delivering dignity. The people of Joburg are not asking for miracles, Madam Speaker. They're asking for basic justice. As good, we call on the MMC to start turning his department around. Let's not make the residents of Johannesburg wait another quarter for this to happen. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cook. The DA, Councillor D. Steenkamp.
Madam Speaker, fellow councillors, residents of Joburg. This Quarter 3 performance report from City Power is not just a record of poor governance. It is a warning that Joburg is hurtling toward collapse under the ANC, EFF, PA and Action SA coalition. City Power has posted a 602 million deficit this quarter alone. The city overdraft sits beyond 15 billion with solvency at negative 0.08 and a liquidity at negative 157%. These are not academic figures. These are signals of a utility in free fall. But the consequences are not only financial, they are criminal. When substations are left overground, unsecured, they become hotspots for cable theft and vandalism. When streetlights fail, our communities are plunged into darkness, leaving residents vulnerable to crime. Criminals thrive in chaos, and this government is giving them fertile ground. Johannesburg residents are not only living in the dark, they are living in fear. And while all this unfolds, we learn that City Power is spending millions on business breakfasts and strategic workshops to develop new departments. All this while the utility survival is at risk. It is scandalous. Revenue has risen by 19%, but not due to improved services. Instead, it's off the back of tariff hikes on already struggling households. Meanwhile, bulk Eskom purchases overshoot by nearly 2 billion, debt collection collapses, prepaid revenues decline, and interest on loans bleeds the city cash dry. The 40 billion maintenance backlog is the shadow of all over this, a legacy of underinvestment, outdated systems, and politicized interference. Worse still, the city political leadership has without 7.6 billion in equitable share allocations, including 1.8 billion this year alone, depriving City Power of critical operating funds. Yes, a deal was struck with Eskom to write off 830 million in penalties, but 3.2 billion still looms, and that does not resolve to City Power's internal collapse, the overdraft, the working capital shortfall, and the failing infrastructure that criminals exploit. Even City Power's board has warned an irreparable harm, and the CEO has openly admitted that operational viability is under threat. Madam Speaker, it is clear the coalition government has lost control, and not just of the City Power, but of public safety and urban stability. The Democratic Alliance offers real solutions. Convert overdraft to equity as approved by SARS, implement cost-reflective tariffs transparently, secure infrastructure with dedicated ring-fenced funding, and critically eradicate cadre deployment. Appoint the best, not the best connected. Johannesburg cannot fight crime with darkness and neglect. Safety begins with infrastructure that works. The DA remains committed to rescuing Johannesburg, to restore service delivery, and rebuilding safety and trust the city needs. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Steenkamp. Freedom Front Plus, Raadslid Boer.
Madam Speaker, good afternoon, fellow councillors. I'm rising on item 9, 10 and 11 as well. I'll start with Johannesburg Water today, but all the departments basically show the same downward trends. Unfortunately, in Johannesburg Water, to look for a positive is hard, but the meter reading there is 87.6%, which is relatively high compared to City Power, although the target is 91.5%. Johannesburg Water managed to realize a profit for a quarter of 1.1 billion rand against the budget of 850. But one wonders, how do they manage that? The collection rate is down from the targeted 74.8% to 74.1%. Our non-revenue water is steadily creeping up from 46.2% last year to 48.6% this year. We are reaching the 50% mark of non-revenue water. Our water losses for the quarter was a staggering 236.7 million kiloliters. Madam Speaker, that is a hell of a lot of water. Our target there was 190 million kiloliters. Our trade payables are standing at 150 days. Our suppliers have to wait for 5 months to get paid. And then we boast ourselves and say, but our per capita usage is reduced from a target of 260 litres per day to 248 litres per day. Madam Speaker, this is not because we are reducing our water usage. No, our residents do not have access to water, so they can't use if they can't have water in their taps. And that is why this per capita is dropping down, which is a negative for us. Johannesburg Water says our average bills this year are 2,809 per month, compared to last year's 3,068, as if we've got less water leaks. But the response time to repair these leaks has dropped down from a target of 85% to 63%. So although they claim we've got less leaks, we can't even fix them in our targeted days. Madam Speaker, City Power is even worse. The overdraft, as the previous councillor said, standing at 15.3 billion. A loss for the quarter, 600 million. Year to date, 2.8 billion. And then, are we doing anything to improve this? No. Our meter reading rate was a frightening 34% for domestic meter reading in February. It was 48% in January, against a target of 95%. So we are not reading our meters, we are just billing and hope that the residents will pay. There are a few positives in City Power. The electricity losses were 37% in quarter 1, 27% in quarter 2, and 26.4% in quarter 3. And I hope that City Power can continue with this trend. Vandalism and theft is also down, and the year-to-date collection rate is standing at 95%. And I'm appealing again, if we can collect 94% on City Power, why can we only collect 74% in Johannesburg Water? And Madam Speaker, to close off, apparently there was a 1.8 billion rand free basic services grant received by the city. Why is it not paid over to City Power to enable them to reduce their overdraft? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Baie dankie Raadslid Boer. Action SA, Councillor K. Mashala. I hope pronounced it right.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Greetings to yourself, the fabulous 34, residents of the city of Joburg and fellow councillors in the House. I rise to speak on item 8-11, performance assessment report for 2024-25 financial year for the period January to March 2025. Madam Speaker, I would like to commend the Environment, Infrastructure and Services for their performance during the period under review for achieving 77% with 10 out of 13 targets met. Whilst we acknowledge this positive performance, we would like to highlight our concerns on the city's wastewater treatment works that are persistently underperforming due to aging infrastructure and insufficient maintenance, which could result in severe environmental and public health consequences. Madam Speaker, allocation of resources to tackle the infrastructure backlog in the city is critical and must be treated as such. Madam Speaker, City Power faces a similar trajectory of infrastructure backlog and insufficient maintenance, amounting to 40 billion rands, which hinders optimal performance by this entity. Services that our residents are in much need of are compromised due to the latter. Another factor that we need not to shy away from, which is a crisis in our city, is the issue of cable theft that has reached catastrophic levels, significantly disrupting services and negatively impacting our communities through power outages. Madam Speaker, a stricter security enforcement approach is necessary to combat these syndicates that continue to hinder the city's progress. Madam Speaker, as always, Pick It Up consistently performs at a high level, and we commend them for achieving 87% of their targets, with 14 out of 16 targets met. Achieving 100% service delivery standards for 5 consecutive quarters is truly commendable, Madam Speaker. This entity faces challenges from landfill sites that are nearing airspace depletion, posing several environmental and health risks to our residents. This needs to be attended to, Madam Speaker. Our streets are piling up with filth due to a lack of workforce on the ground and a shortage of Pick It Up fleet. Madam Speaker, priority should be given to the expansion and renewal of the Pick It Up fleet, as well as the training of general workers, loaders, and other personnel to help curb this crisis and ensure the entity continues to provide consistent waste management in the city. Madam Speaker, let's address the elephant in the room, Johannesburg water. Action SA is gravely concerned about the current man-made water crisis that has purged the city of Johannesburg. Since we joined this council, Madam Speaker, we have been very vocal about this predicament. We even went further, providing solutions as opposed to just pinpointing challenges. The 27 billion infrastructure backlog has been in our radar for a very long time. The water crisis is, however, as a result of years of neglect. Aging infrastructure and growing population have been cited as the main contributor, and there is a great need to address this crisis. To mitigate this prolonged situation from recurring in future, there must be consequence management. Madam Speaker, we have realized that the issue is not just poor coordination among key stakeholders, but a mere lack of oversight and lack of appetite to address this issue. From the explanation we get from Rainwater, it is evident that they supply enough water to Joburg Water. However, aging dams and loss of water pipes that lose water coupled with illegal water connections is a challenge. Madam Speaker, let us stop creating bomb squads whenever there's a problem. Let's fix the problem with the human resources that we have. Action SA notes the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. DA, Councillor M. Seku.
Afternoon, Speaker, colleagues, protocol observed. I asked to speak on item 8, the third quarter report by Johannesburg Water. Johannesburg Water has made an offer to present what it deems a reasonable report. However, such efforts are ultimately constrained by a wider ongoing failures of the city's administration under the ANC, EFF, and the PA. The report glosses over numerous critical shortcomings, and while I'm sure my colleagues will address the financial implications, I would like to focus on the operational side. Let me begin with the communication, or rather lack thereof. Councillors repeatedly advise residents to log calls and escalate issues through official channels and designated groups. Yet these calls for action fall into a void. There's no feedback, no acknowledgement, and more often than not, no resolution. The lack of transparency appears to be systematic, and it extends into Joburg Water Supply Chain Department. This is evident from the sheer number of promotion of access to Information Act requests from various institutions, prove that stakeholders are being kept in the dark. Turning to non-revenue water, we are told that water throttling was introduced as a turnaround measure. Yet, instead of reduction, we have seen an increase in non-revenue water by 2.4%, now sitting at 48.6%. This signals not only the failure of strategy, but the worsening of a crisis. Throttling, which is supposed to manage the supply, is in itself a crisis. Residents are left without water for days because the system is unable to recover adequately. Instead of relying on water throttling Joburg Water should focus on fixing leaks and burst pipes timeously. We are told that infrastructure failure rates has decreased, but of course, that's only because the infrastructure is no longer under pressure from continuous water supply. More often, residents find themselves without running water. In other words, the system fails less because it operates less, a hollow victory. Backfilling and reinstatement remain another major problem. Months after repairs, open holes and incomplete reinstatements remain. This poses serious safety risk to our communities and signals a lack of oversight and accountability. Now on sanitation, sewer spillages and malfunctioning pump houses continue to plague our communities and affect downstream water bodies, including our dams. Compliance with wastewater facilities is 9.4% below target. Therefore, and there have been 87 more spills than anticipated. The so-called water tanker mafia continues to exploit the crisis in Joburg Water. And Joburg Water has yet to announce whether it's doing any investigation on this. Finally, we must confront the demotivated workforce
left.
on the ground.
30 seconds.
There is staggering lack of agency from the Joburg Water staff. Unless the attitude is addressed, we will continue to spiral into a negative service delivery failure. Madam Speaker, the state of Johannesburg Water reflects the state of the city of Johannesburg. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. PA Councillor Simonse.
Good afternoon, Madam Speaker. Let me congratulate you for taking the seat up once again. I see that you haven't done that for the day. Honorable Speaker, the Joburg 10 members of council, good afternoon. As the Patriotic Alliance, we have reviewed the performance assessment reports tabled today. We must state that clarity and concern that we are not satisfied with the overall performance. It reflects across the city of Johannesburg, as it reflects across the department's apologies. The city of Johannesburg continues to fall short in delivering basic services to our communities. Our residents are burdened daily by electricity outages, unreliable water supply, mounting waste, deteriorating infrastructure, and lack of visible social and health support where it is most needed. This is unacceptable for this excuse to be here over and over. We demand greater accountability, stronger leadership, and measurable improvements. The city must do better, not just on paper, but in the real impact on the ground. Our communities deserve more than the reports. They deserve action and delivery with dignity. I salute you.
Thank you, Councillor. EFF Councillor Mukasi.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Allow me to firstly acknowledge the leader of the EFF caucus here in Johannesburg, Mr. Dr. Mginichwaku, our courageous Chief Whip, Councillor Thabisa Mohapi, and extend special greetings to EFF councillors, fellow councillors. Most importantly, the city of Johannesburg residents, please receive our revolutionary greetings. Speaker, 26 July marks a fundamental moment in South Africa's political landscape, particularly since the inception of the economic freedom fighters. On July 26, 2013, we boldly emerged to champion the rights of those facing economic exclusions who happens to be Africans. Initially, our arrival was met with uncertainty and dismissal. However, we have proven our strength and resilience beyond reasonable doubt. Today, we are a formidable force recognized across the world, firmly committed to reclaiming land which was stolen from us by settlers. We are excited to witness a growing understanding amongst the public about the importance of land ownership. People are realizing that true wealth and complete liberation is rooted in the land, and without it, we are at significant disadvantage. Just last week, we celebrated our 12 years anniversary in Cape Town, demonstrating the vision of a government led by the economic freedom fighters, and what we desire to achieve for our people. We shall march forward until total economic emancipation is achieved. Speaker, we note the increase in revenue collection on city power, which is the only positive development we have observed in this quarter under review. However, we are concerned about the continuous increase in the net surplus deficit, which worsened by 5% in this quarter. The net loss is traveling, sitting at 104%, amounting to a deficit of 602 million. And our net bank overdraft is at 15.334 billion. We are worried that the only positive comes from resident collection, while those responsible for managing the finances of the entity seems to be neglecting their duties. We welcome the city power basic electricity rollout, which will reduce the burden on disadvantaged families. Speaker, we acknowledge the efforts made by Joburg Water to ensure residents have access to running water. Where there is no infrastructure, alternative water supply have been provided. However, we must bring to this council attention that residents of Ward 44 in Bramfisher, Phase 2, Namnam Street, about 8 households have been without running water for almost 7 years, likely due to pressure reduction. Additionally, residents of Ward 114 in Zanspruit, Vukuzenzela have dry taps. Residents at Extension 16, Tracis Camp, Liqua Street, only have access to water at midnight or have their taps that remain permanently dry. We believe the cause may be pressure reduction in many areas, and this situation needs urgent attention so we can ensure our people have access to water. Servicing of VIP and chemical toilets remain a significant challenge since the change of contractor, with no proper supervision from Joburg Water to ensure the work they are paid for is being carried out effectively. Speaker, Pick It Up remain our hopeful entity. We are pleased with the report, which aligns with current situation on the
20
ground.
seconds left.
However, our concern remains the dependence on outsourced work to fulfill their core mandate. Building internal capacity and scraping tender system can boost effective service delivery, creation of sustainable jobs, and dismantle corruption. Other issue is the practice of advertising posts only to withdraw them without providing reasons and time frames for when they will be re-advertised. This leaves unemployed people frustrated. By undertaking of applying, it gives courage to job seekers, and we need to avoid this emotional abuse. With the concerns mentioned above, the economic freedom fighters note the report. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you so much, Councillor. UDM, Councillor Zigebe.
Madam Speaker, today's debate invites us to reflect not just on statistics, but on the soul of our city, how we plan for environmental resilience, how we power our communities, and how we secure a just and sustainable future for all. Let us begin with the commendable strides made by Environment and Infrastructure Services Department in this third quarter.
Councillor Zigebe, please speak into the mic.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm an orphan, so I don't know these things anymore. Let us begin with the commendable strides made by the Environment and Infrastructure Services Department. In this third quarter, a waste diversion rate of 28.1%, significantly exceeding the 24% target, signals a maturing shift from linear disposal to a circular economy model. Likewise, the 359 water quality tests conducted, far above the annual target, are not just technical ticks. They build trust with communities living along our vulnerable river systems. Equally proactive is the environmental screening of 100% of submitted CAPEX projects, demonstrating that EISD is not only reacting to environmental risk, but proactively safeguarding the city's ecological integrity. We are also encouraged by the department's clean UIF W record and the absence of unresolved AGSA's findings, a clear sign of administrative discipline. However, while 77% of KPIs were achieved, the report also reveals deeper systemic issues, a 49% overall vacancy rate, and CAPEX underperformance, notably in waste infrastructure and ambient air quality analyzer projects. These delays, often due to procurement bottlenecks, are not minor. They are obstacles to our green economy transitions and to cleaner, healthier urban environments. Madam Speaker, similar patterns of constrained excellence are echoed in the performance report of City Power. With 79.17% of KPIs achieved, the entity is demonstrating strong performance in outage communication, customer queries, and high voltage maintenance. Revenue is up by 17.4% year-on-year, yet we confront a 602 million net loss in Q3 and a year-to-date deficit of 2.84 billion. This is not a report of failure, it is a report of pressure. City Power is shackled by historic debt, volatile bulk electricity costs, theft and vandalism, and technical losses with rising procurement costs. Yet the transparency with these challenges are being reported reflects a growing culture of performance-based accountability. So what must we do? First, we must stabilize both entities. Operational capacity, we must stabilize both entities' operational capacity. For
20
AISD, we
seconds.
propose that Council's Employment Equity Subcommittee reviews the current vacancy structure and crafts a plan to progressively fund the unfunded post over the next 2 MTEF cycles. For City Power, the City Treasurer should explore conditional support theatered to improvements in CAPEX and procurement reform. We must safeguard infrastructure. We support the establishment of a metro-wide energy security task team comprising City Power, JMPD, SAPS, and communities to tackle infrastructure sabotage, theft, and meter tampering. We must accelerate transitions. The AISD school environment programs must be expanded into informal settlements where environmental justice is urgently needed. Likewise, City Power must
2
move
seconds
beyond
left.
visibility into procurement in the city readiness renewable energy project, prioritizing townships suffering from energy poverty. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. ANC, Councillor Madiba.
And greetings, Madam Speaker. Greetings to the Executive Mayor and all protocol observed. I rise on item 8, 9, 10, 11, and item 12. As the African National Congress, we note and approve the reports. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. MMC Masuku.
Speaker, we note the comments from councillors. I think in particular the issues that they raised about the sewer spillages and the environmental impact that they spoke about. I think it's an important point that councillors raised, including the issues of the water losses. I think the MMC for EISD does make a concerted effort to resolve some of these issues. We do have some financial constraints because of our situation in the city, and I think councillors are aware of that. However, I think what is important is that we take the comments and the suggestions made by the councillors from various caucuses. I think Councillor from Action SA, you spoke at length, Councillor Mashala, you also spoke at length about the issue of the environmental health as well, and as well as working on the sanitation challenges. But we note the comments, and I will relate to MMC Squaila. Sorry, Speaker, I was caught off guard, but we note the comments, and we ask Council to approve and note the report.
Thank you, MMC Masuku. Member in charge, Councillor Munyai.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. Can you protect me here behind me? They say bye-bye to me. I don't know what is in that I've done.
Councillors,
I can hear behind me they say bye-bye.
you are protected. Don't overuse the protection also, you are protected.
Okay. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the committee, we would like to take this opportunity also to thank General Mkhwanazi for fixing the country. Okay. Madam Speaker, I would like also to request the Council to note and approve the report. Thank you.
I can't protect you from Mkhwanazi, but it's fine. Councillors, the recommendations are on pages 8.5, 9.20, 10.3, 11.11, 12.48 to 1250. Are the items agreed to? Bye, thank you.
Councillors, we are now on item 13, which is the performance assessment report for the Health Department for the 2024-25 financial year for the period January to March 2025. Read with item 14, and that's your performance assessment report for the Social Development Department for the 2024-25 financial year for the period January to March 2025. And both items lastly read with item 15, which is the oversight report of the Health and Social Development Section 79 Committee on the 2024-25 third quarter budget and performance assessment report of Health Department and Social Development Department for the period January to March 2025.
Thank you, Secretary. Member in charge, Councillor Ahmed. Chair Ahmed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Executive Mayor in his absentia, MMCs, the Chief Whip of Council, Chair of Chairs, and Councillors. I greet you all.
Councillor Ahmed, can you speak into the mic, please?
Thank you, Speaker. Am I audible?
Yes, now.
Okay. Speaker, I would like to table item 13 and 14, Performance Assessment Report of Health and Social Development, read together with item 15, Oversight Report of Health and Social Development for the year 2024-25 financial year for the period of January to March 2025. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Member in charge. DA Councillor Cook. Sorry, DA Councillor Jacobs. Sorry. Apologies.
Thank you, Speaker. He's welcome to join us. Madam Speaker, all protocol observed. I rise to speak on item 13, Health Department's Quarter 3 report. We note the achievements as reported by the data and sightings on the ground sightings on the ground speaks a different story. You see, Madam Speaker, stats can be manipulated in the wrong hands. Clinics in Soweto, Malvern, Wendy Hood are constantly in a state of functioning without reliable power, water, staffing, amongst other. The ongoing misalignment between the city departments and other entities, particularly with disconnections at clinics, late payments, and maintenance delays, have directly impacted service delivery. Madam Speaker, in 2019, the DA-led administration introduced extended clinic hours across various facilities in the city of Johannesburg. This initiative was not a political gimmick. It was a deliberate intervention aimed at supporting the poorest of the poor, those who cannot afford to take a day off work, those who queue for hours hoping to be seen, and those who rely solely on the public health system for survival. Today, Madam Speaker, under the ANC, PA, EFF-led administration, those extended hours are disintegrating, stripping our most vulnerable residents of a basic right to access healthcare. Just go and look at Randburg Clinic. 2-3 months without extended services. Furthermore, Madam Speaker, we are witnessing a disturbing wave of mafia-style control and gangster behavior within some of the public clinics. Councillor Masera, a councillor in the city of Johannesburg, was denied access to a local clinic in Ward 44, Soweto, just yesterday, where people were demanding to see his identity document. Has this administration given those people a mandate to execute these functions? If no, what is the administration doing about the lawlessness? Are we seriously back to the era of Dompas? Madam Speaker, we understand that our clinics are overburdened. We recognize the strain placed on healthcare workers and systems, but we must also confront the hard truth. The root cause of this matter is not being addressed. Madam Speaker, the root cause is a systemic failure created and enabled by poor governance, inadequate systems, and a lack of decisive leadership under the current ANC, EFF, PA-led administration. When communities lose faith in the system, they fill the vacuum with disorder. Will this ANC administration continue to remain silent in the face of what is clearly a humanitarian disaster? Will they remain silent? Will the PA constantly have their members in their PA t-shirt running around causing gangster mafia behavior within the facilities? The DA demands that an ANC EFF PA deals with these issues decisively, lest their hands are tainted with blood. We owe it to our people to restore law, dignity, and access to every clinic in the city. Madam Speaker, the Democratic Alliance demands better performance, tighter monitoring, and a compassionate, people-centered leadership. We are that people. We are that leadership. The Democratic Alliance, for the people and with the people.
Good, Councillor Cook from Good.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Speaker, I rise on items 13 to 15, the performance assessment and oversight reports submitted by the Department of Health and Social Development. The third quarter reports and the oversight findings remind us that behind every statistic lies a person, a mother needing a clinic, a hungry child waiting for food, a young person searching for dignity and work. Let me start where we must all agree. There is progress to acknowledge. The Social Development Department has achieved 90% of its targets. More than 226,000 vegetable packs have been distributed to families. This is commendable. Interventions for gender-based violence, substance abuse, people living on the streets, and support for the LGBTQIA+ communities are not just being talked about, they're actually happening. Our youth, elderly, and people with disabilities are beginning to receive the services they require. And for this, I must congratulate Chairperson Yongama Zigebe of the UDM, who has really shown the rest of his colleagues how to use your position effectively to create change within your appointed and elected role. No excuses, delivering on your promises, and always fighting for the people of Johannesburg. Councillor Zigebe, many of your colleagues could learn a lot from you. The Health Department, too, has made critical strides, from HIV treatment and antenatal care to food safety blitzes and increased immunization coverage. Facilities like Naledi Clinic are now operational, and the implementation of electronic health records shows us we're inching closer towards a smarter city. But Speaker, we must not pile up good reports to cover up the cracks, because the cracks are deep. Clinics delayed because of budget cuts, service providers unpaid, strategic capital projects stalled at planning phase while communities suffer. Our oversight reports makes it plain. Cash flow problems, poor coordination with implementing agents like JDA, and digital infrastructure failures are threatening to derail delivery where it matters the most. It is always the same residents who pay the price: the poor, the vulnerable, and the marginalized. We are failing them when indigent households can't register on ESP because of network issues. We are failing them when only half our capital budgets are spent while clinics go unfinished. We are failing them when shelters, food support, and substance abuse centers face resourcing uncertainty. Good believes that dignity must be built from the ground up, with working class, functioning social services, accountable institutions, and funded promises. In conclusion, this council must not become numb to underperformance masked in bureaucracy. Our duty is to act, not to note, not to defer, but to deliver. Let these reports be a call, not just to acknowledge, but to intervene. Let's fix what's broken, pay who must be paid, build what must be built, and always, always put the people of Johannesburg first. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cook. IFP, Councillor Nkomo.
Ngiyabingelela kuwe Somlomo. Ngibingelele usodolopha wethu. Ngibingelele uhwiphu wethu Baba Manzini. Sibingelele uchair of chairs. Ngingakhohlwa iCaucus ye-IFP eholwa ubaba uKhansela uMabaso. Speaker, the oversight issues on the health and social development were from the oversight visit that were conducted. The main challenge are CapEx projects that are behind due to lack of money, to pay invoices on time, and also repairs and maintenance. Kafishane nje sizocela ukuba lubukwe udaba lokhokhelwa koso contract. Sicela i-department ibambisane no MMC ukulungisa isimo samanzi kulama clinic. Okuyiloli ni Mountain View engenawo amanzi. Ophakamisa imbuzo ukuthi uma engekho amanzi emaclinic silindele ukuthi abezempilo basebenze kanjani. Abahambela amaclinic ngokuyofuna impilo mebengezoba nawo amanzi okuphuza nokugeza izandla kodwa sibiza ngeclinic ngabe hlobo luni lweclinic. Njenge-IFP sayinothe report ngalawo ma-concerns engiqeda ukwabala ngenhla. Ngiyabonga Speaker.
Siyabonga, Councillor. Action essay, Councillor Mposula.
Greetings to the Speaker, the Executive Mayor, Fabulous 44, esteemed councillors and residents of Johannesburg. Today I rise not just to review quarterly statistics, but to confront a deeper issue, the widening gap between what is reported and what is truly experienced by the people in our city. The third quarter performance reports for the health and social development reveal a troubling trend, the triumph on paper progress over real change. I'm going to touch on chronic underperformance. 7 out of 38 key performance indicators were not met, including the crucial HIV treatment initiation rate. The difference between the 96.5% target and the 95.9% achievement may seem marginal to some, but it translates to over 3,100 lives at risk, victims of poor data management and systematic inefficiencies. Only 53% of the capital budget has been spent, with the department citing cash flow challenges. Clinics like Protea South remains trapped in endless planning. Residents are tired of excuses. They need services. Infrastructure and dignity delayed. The sanitary repairs program sits at 0% implementation. Yet this was not due to funding, but tender delays. How long must young girls miss school because their dignity is debated behind closed doors? When I touch on misplaced priorities, Madam Speaker, we acknowledge the value of community wellness initiatives. However, we must question a department that invests in Gogo's Go Dancing, while 24-hour maternity services at Florida and Westbury clinics are still in phase stage. Maternal health care is not optional, it is fundamental. A 90% KPA achievement rate means little when dry food parcel distribution is at 0%. How can we claim success when hunger persists in households across the city? Yes, 226,987 vegetable packs were distributed, but where is the transparency? Who received them? What was the impact? Madam Speaker, 4 GBV interventions and 6 substance abuse programs were implemented, yet there is no data to show reduced violence or addiction. Awareness without tangible outcomes is not empowerment, it is a political theater. The department also reports signing new MOUs, yet it fails to explain how this translates into jobs, safety, or dignity for our people. As Action SA, we will not rubber stamp these reports. We demand urgent budget interventions. The health department must unblock budget bottlenecks and fast-track capital projects, especially in underserved communities. Number 2, Madam Speaker, we need real transparency. Reports must move beyond number to show outcomes. Who benefits? How have their lives changed? Where is the data? Number 3, Madam Speaker, I'm going to touch on leadership with integrity. Social development and health must pivot from tick box campaigns to policies that measure and deliver real change, particularly on GBV, youth empowerment, and food security, to say the least. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, these reports are not just administrative updates. They are a mirror of the government's priorities. While clinics remain unfinished, women unsupported, and children unfed, glossy metrics and well-designed infographics offer no comfort. Action SA notes these reports with serious concerns. We urge this council to move beyond bureaucratic formalities and toward a government that acts with agency, transparency at heart. The residents of Johannesburg deserve better, and with this, Action SA will continue to fighting and ensure that they get exactly that. Action SA notes these reports with concerns. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor. The DA, Councillor Mohammed N. Mohammed.
Honorable Speaker, fellow councillors, members of the public present in the gallery, officials and residents of the city of Johannesburg, I greet you all. I hereby rise to speak on behalf of the Democratic Alliance on item 14. This is the performance assessment report for the Social Development Department for the 2020-2025 financial year for the period of January to March 2025. The expanded social program beneficiaries are amongst the most vulnerable in our city and yet remain a non-priority for the current government of the ANC, EFF, PA and Action SA coalition. In this report, we notice that ESP beneficiaries and indigent families are the only key performance indicators that have not met their target. This report highlights that out of 21 KPIs, only 19 have met their targets, and this excludes the ESP and indigent beneficiaries. ESP is intended to provide relief to vulnerable citizens, and the question remains, why is this not a priority for the current government? We also note that the distribution of food parcels and non-perishable food parcels for indigent families has also not been met according to this report. There was 37,500 that was targeted and 0 was distributed. And again, with food security being a challenge in our society, particularly amongst the vulnerable, when we mention vulnerable groups in our city, we cannot omit to mention beneficiaries in shelters. Majority of shelters within the city have issues with compliance, asset management, food security, waste management, organizational structure, and organograms because of inefficient planning and the lack of memorandum of understandings between entities, stakeholders and the city. There are no clear defined terms of reference on managing city shelters. The city needs to prioritize, along with its relevant stakeholders for social development, they need to ensure that indigent families and ESP beneficiaries should be a consideration. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. PA Councillor Smosa. Okay, we go past. ACDP Councillor Rolson.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Greetings to you all in the mighty name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Greetings, Madam Speaker, Executive Mayor in absentia, MMCs, councillors, distinguished guests, and residents of Johannesburg. Madam Speaker, I rise on item 13, the performance assessment report for the Health Department for the 2024-25 financial year for the period of January to March 2025. Madam Speaker, the ACDP notes that during the 2023-2024 financial year, the department delivered care of patients and citizens of over 3.7 million clients, and through the network of 76 clinics, comprising of 75 fixed clinics and 1 satellite clinic and 10 mobile clinics, positioning it as a valid and lifeline for residents across the city. The ACDP, however, is very concerned that to date, not a single additional mobile clinic has been purchased from that time, from the 2023-2024 financial year. We are still at 10 mobile clinics, Madam Speaker. And this is due to lack of finances. Madam Speaker, it is critically important for more of these mobile clinics to be purchased, and the ACDP urges the MMC of Finance to allocate funds for this purchase. As the health department does not have the finances to build hospitals, fixed clinics, or satellite clinics, mobile clinics will help provide at least some relief to the communities who are desperate for a decent quality healthcare. God bless South Africa. God bless the sovereign state of Israel. The ACDP notes this report. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. The EFF Councillor, Councillor Ntwele. Before you go, Councillor, your time will be stopped. Councillor Maile.
No, thanks very much, Madam Speaker. I rise to just express my concern. I only see the PAC in the front row, which did not even get 1% of the vote in 2021. Where are the people who are supposed to be here?
Councillor Maile. I don't want to go back. Councillor Maile. Councillor Maile. I don't want to go back to what I said to you when I was sitting that side, okay? No, it's fine, MMC. It's fine. Don't, MMC. It's okay. Switch off your mic, please, MMC. MMC, switch off your mic. MMC, switch off your mic, it's fine. MMC and Conco, please switch off your mic. It's okay, MMC. He knows what's his medicine. Councillor Ntwele, please. Councillors, we have a councillor on the podium, please. Councillor Molisane, please. Hey, MMC? Yes, MMC?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to correct certain things. I just want to remind this Quisling here, this Twadis, that the police members are killed by the very same this settlers, colonial settlers. That's why you are not here. Thank you.
Colleagues, we had a beautiful day. Can we allow the speakers to speak? Please, Councillor Belinda, please.
Speaker, we didn't hear
I'll only allow one then here, not two. Councillor Belinda. And I'm not going to take any other hands because I'm...
Madam Speaker, point of order. The MMC has just made an allegation in a public platform, serious allegation, in a public platform that is viewed by the residents of Johannesburg. Has he got proof that the DA sitting on the side has killed PIC members? He must withdraw, please, unconditionally. Unconditionally. He must withdraw unconditionally.
Councillors, Councillor Belinda, I got what you said.
He must withdraw.
I got what you said, Councillor Belinda.
You said those ones over there.
Councillor Belinda, I got what you said.
That's what he said.
Councillor Belinda, I got what you said. He
must withdraw because he's sitting here, so clearly he survived.
Councillor Belinda, I fully got what you said. Can I allow please, Councillor Belinda? I understood very well what you said. Can you see? My mistake was to allow Councillor Maile to say what he said. He was provoking, and we don't need that. We had a beautiful day. Can we please allow the business of the day to continue? Councillor, can you please take your seat? Can we continue with Councillor Maile? You have stirred unnecessary problems, and we can't afford that. Councillor Ntwele, can you please take the podium? MMC, MMC, can we please stop this? We had a beautiful day. And Councillor Maile is the one that's causing this. Let's agree. Let's agree. Councillor Ntwele, please. Councillor Ahmed.
Speaker,
I love the way that we are all saying we are live, that we are all saying this one is wrong and that one is wrong, but then we all start and we make wrong things. One wrong doesn't fix the other wrong. Can I allow Councillor Ntwele to carry on? Councillor Chairperson Ahmed, I'm not going to allow you. I'm not going to allow you. MMC, can you withdraw? Colleagues, why are we doing this chaos? You are being watched.
Morale Maile must apologize.
Colleagues, if you want to listen what the MMC says, then can we be quiet? Colleagues, we are not kindergarten. MMC?
Madam Speaker, I just want to correct that. I say colonial settlers, they killed a member of the PC. I will bring the proof. It's there in TRC records. It's there it's there. It's there. It's a fact, the truth. It happened. They were held, they were killed. Hence, were June 16.
Thank you, MMC. You've made your point.
Everywhere. That's why they even went to exile.
You've made your point.
They murdered them. They killed them. Daily life. It's a fact, the truth. We'll never die for that. And I'm prepared to die for that.
MMC, can all those on my right hand, can we keep quiet? Can we keep quiet? I can't respond if people are making a noise. I'll wait for everybody to settle. I'll wait for everybody to settle, and then I will rule. Colleagues, am I allowed to speak now? Am I allowed to speak? Zita, please. Colleagues, I think MMC has corrected what he said wrong. He corrected himself. He was colleagues. Councillor Belinda, you are leading a caucus of 71 people. So I would have expected you to listen when I've said something, and then you can, but you are allowing your caucus to also scream. Can I? I don't have high blood, I'm not you. Councillor Belinda, can I finish what I've said, what I want to say? And I've listened on both sides of myself. I've listened to advice, and I've also taken it the way I listen to it. They say listening is a skill as well as reading is a skill. And we don't all agree at times with how somebody else says something. Councillor or MMC said the first instance, he pointed at you people and he said that on that side, you have killed the PAC and all that, right? I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm not done. He then, after all the voices, he then came back and he says, I'm not talking as you as now. I'm talking about history and what happened in colonial times. He said he's correcting himself. He said he's correcting himself. He said he's correcting himself. He said, I'm correcting myself. And I do believe somebody on the other side also asked earlier, are we in the time of Dompas? Colleagues, listening is a skill. Can we agree that he corrected himself? He corrected himself. How else do we want him to correct? And I'm not going to allow hands any longer. I've ruled, and I would ask that the business of the day continues. I have ruled, and the business of the day continues. We can also, in this instance, says, as I said, the troublemaker was Councillor Maile, and he laughed about it. He's still laughing about it. So can we continue with the business? Councillor Ntwele, can you please rise and give us your speech so that we can continue with the business of the day? Thank you, Councillor Ntwele.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker,
can we all stop and allow the person on the podium to speak?
Can I continue, Speaker?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. Greetings to the caucus leader of the EFF, the chief whip of the EFF, fellow councillors, and everyone in the gallery. Speaker, I rise on item 13, 14, and 15. Speaker, we as the EFF, we are proud of the work of the committee under the leadership of Councillor Makafula. During the period under review, the committee has achieved 97% of its TB program, 95% of its HIV program, and 89% of its immunization program. Speaker, the employees are the cornerstone of any workplace. As such, we are proud to mention that the department held a successful award ceremony. Total of 71 officials were awarded. Siyabonga basebenzi. The Health and Social Development Department is nothing without your efforts. The EFF Cardinal Pillar number 4 speaks of free and quality health service, which must be available 24 hours. We are proud during the period under review, 2 clinics, that is Florida and Westbury, have been identified for modification to provide maternity and 24 hours casualty service. This is definitely a drop in the ocean, but a step in the right direction. As for the performance assessment report of the social development, Speaker, it should be noted that the department achieved 19 out of 21 of its KPIs constitution achievements, and 90% for the key performance indicators such as initiative implemented to combat the substance abuse, number of small-scale farmers, support to promote urban agriculture within the city. organic farming projects to promote sustainable environment within the city and number of vulnerable individuals receiving economic skills training. The department beyond the set targets. You would agree with me, Speaker, that from overachievement of the set key performance indicators, the department is fully committed and eradicated poverty. We must say the achievements are not without challenges. The challenges include amongst others, poor quality database because of shortage of data captures, incomplete infrastructure, development and refurbishment, and discontinuation of the EPWPs. Speaker, it should be noted that the EFF, we are mainly concerned about the discontinuation of the EPWP because as EFF, we have first experience of how this will affect the most vulnerable residents of the city of Johannesburg. It must, however, be noted that the unmet targets are mainly because of the budget constraints. We as the EFF note the report. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Ntwele. The UDM, Councillor Zigebe. Councillor Mosetla. Councillor Mosetla, please.
Speaker, I rise today to firstly acknowledge a sacred moment unfolding in our nation, one that calls to reflect on the power of spirit, discipline, and African indigenous spirituality. On behalf of the United Democratic Movement, I extend our deepest well wishes to Amasosha Omoya of the chosen nation of the Revelation Spiritual Home under the spiritual guidance of Inkosi Omoya Dr. Uzulezo Khadebe as they undertake their annual pilgrimage to Ekuphumleni Endabeni Phakeme. This is no ordinary journey. It is a spiritual ascent, a renewal of their covenant with His Thunywa Esikhulu Mabizwa Sabele and Inkosi Omoya, a moment of divine alignment, healing, and collective renewal. In this new spiritual year, may their steps be guided by the light of the Spirit, Thunywa and their ancestors. May their spirits be fortified, and may their return bring wisdom and restoration, not only to the institution and the Blue Nation, but to the soul of the city of Johannesburg as the headquarters of Cllr Bubeso of the Revelation Spiritual Home is here in our city. Madam Speaker, it is with that same reverence for dignity and human well-being that we turn to the third quarter performance report on the city's health department. This department stands as a guardian of life and dignity. Over 3.7 million residents accessed care through our 76 facilities. That is not simply a metric, it is an expression of public trust. We are encouraged by the achievements that 93.2% immunization coverage for children under 1, protecting our future generations, and 97% TB treatment initiation rate, aligning with national health targets, 100% compliance in vector control, and over 30,000 learners reached through school health awareness programs. Notably, the plans to introduce 24-hour casualty and maternity services in Florida and Westbury clinics through a hybrid provincial local model are welcomed, particularly for underdeserved communities. Yet challenges persist. HIV treatment initiation lags slightly at 95.9%, and each percentage points reflect real human lives. Clinics such as Tutugani and Shanti still operate under asbestos roofing, with upgrade requests unfortunately declined during the adjustment process. The pause in EPWP recruitment stalls our efforts to build community-based health champions and reduce unemployment. In response, we propose multi-year budgeting to ensure infrastructure continuity, stronger partnerships with the provincial department for shared resources, and reprioritizing clinic upgrades in the next adjustment cycle, especially in historically neglected areas. Let us treat health not merely as a technical service, but as a developmental right, inseparable from dignity, justice, and the spirit of Ubuntu. As we salute those ascending the sacred mountain, may we too ascend in our commitment to the well-being of our people. Speaker, before ndihlale phansi kandivumele ndibethe iDA neAction SA. Nicinga uba le mali sizayithatha phi of servicing our people. When you rejected the adjustment budget, when you rejected the annual budget, Sanuza Apa and grandstand and tell our people lies, because for these challenges to happen, these EPWPs not to be employed, it's because of
3
Nina,
seconds,
because
Councillor.
you rejected these important milestones in making sure that we service our people and we have an acceleration in service delivery. Nkosi.
Thank you, Councillor. The ANC has 10 minutes. We're going to share that 10 minutes between Councillor Mpau and Councillor Hlachwayo. Councillor Belinda.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I don't believe that you had responded to Councillor Myla's concern, which was the fact that the other MMCs are not here. Thanks.
Belinda, I can't hear anything that you're saying.
I'm trying to stay calm, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I don't believe that you have responded to Councillor Myla's initial concern about the fact that councillors are giving input and the bulk of the MMCs are not here to listen to those inputs, not even the leader of executive business. So that's the concern that was raised before chaos broke out.
I have sent them messages to come in. Chair of Chairs.
Speaker, I thought
Just hold on, Chair of Chairs. In actual fact, Councillor Belinda, all the MMCs that are supposed to respond are here. Councillor Makafula is here. Next is going to be Councillor MMC of Housing and MMC Mnisi. They are all here. And Councillor Nkonko is here. I'm not certain. Councillor Marema, Chair of Chairs.
No, thank you, Speaker, for your latter assertion. I rose to, and I felt that if I don't say what I needed to say, it would then set a wrong precedence in terms of analysis of how things work. It's a mayoral committee, it's not an individual thing. So if one MMC is here, that MMC represents the entire committee. So I don't think that the assertion that the others are not here means that there is no executive committee member there. So if we can just correct that, because otherwise others will be going out to the media to write that there were others who were absent. I see where they are driving the narrative to. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair of Chairs. And yeah, let's carry on. Councillor Mosetla. Okay, last one.
Cllr speak. I wanted to correct two things. This morning we were all here, unless if other people were outside. When apologies were sent to yourself that many of our MMCs will not be here for the full day because of other commitments. And we all accepted those apologies. But the MMC responsible for this item is here. What do we want other MMCs for?
That's what
Thank you.
myself and Chair said. Can we continue with the business of the day, please? As said, the two councillors will share the 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Councillors.
Just hold on, Councillor. Can we not do what we are doing on my left-hand side? And we know what we did. Thank you, Councillor. Can you continue?
Thank you, Speaker. Honorable Speaker, honorable members of Council, distinguished guests, and fellow citizens. I rise to discuss item 13, the Health Department performance for the 2024-2025 financial year, especially the January to March 2025 quarter. While we as the ANC commend the department for its KPIs of 80%. We are concerned about the decisions, Speaker, to defer critical clinic projects. The decision seems to contradict the department's mission to improve decisions, residents' health and well-being, particularly in ensuring equitable access to health care. We understand the city's financial constraints, but the ANC strongly believe that the health of our residents should not be compromised. I urge the department to consider this decision and prioritize the health and well-being of our community. The city's financial challenges should not come at the expense of our residents' health. Speaker, I thank you. As the African National Congress, we note the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Can we have the next ANC councillor? Can whoever has a mic on, please switch it off?
Honorable Speaker, honorable councillors, honorable Executive Mayor, Abatata, Silo Morero. Speaker, I rise to discuss the item 14, focusing on the Social Development Department performance for 2024 and 2025. The quarter under review. The ANC commends the department impressive to 90% overall performance, demonstrating effective service delivery. We particularly appreciate their effort to combat gender-based violence, including support to the LGBTQ+ community, a crucial issue in our country. Moving forward, let's continue to collaborate to ensure our social development initiatives are impactful, inclusive, and response to the needs of all our citizens. Speaker, I thank you. As the ANC, we note the report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor. MMC Makafula.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity to reflect on the comments that have been made, and to also, Speaker, let me take the opportunity to also correct some of the things that were said in this House that are not true. Speaker, it is so funny that the architects of Dompas, they are coming in this House and really reflect and say health department must. They are the architects of Dompas. They must deal with it themselves. Number two, it's so worrying that people are here, they are commending. There are people who are commending. We thank you for that. And some of the things that were really raised, we take note of that, and really we will look forward to make improvements. Speaker, the councillors has made reflections to say that they introduced the extended hours. Yes, they introduced the extended hours, but since the GLU came in, we introduced 24 hours, which is a far much more better measurement that was put in place in the department. So I don't understand when they start to really compare the two, how are they comparable? As we speak right now, Speaker, Westbury MOU is working 24 hours. People are giving birth due to efforts made by the department to ensure that we deliver or we give access to quality health care in the city of Johannesburg residents. I don't know if maybe councillors during their oversight, they don't do their work. But let me applaud Councillor Cook. Your oversight work really is showing that you know what is it that you are talking about. Nonetheless, let me also put in place that Westbury Clinic in Florida, just for information so that you don't tell the residents lies. It is a hybrid model. By hybrid, as much as Lili Balungu, it means that the local government is working together with the provincial government. That is hybrid. In this instance, we work with the provincial government so that they offer services that we are unable to offer for 24 hours. We work together. As we speak right now, Westbury Clinic and Florida Clinic, part of Westbury Clinic and Florida Clinic is being in the process of the finalization stage, and soon we will invite you all to open the 24 hours clinic open by the city of Johannesburg. Speaker, I would really do or commit a crime if I don't educate the councillors, especially the DA councillors and the XA councillors, of what it takes for a person to register for ESP. Let me read it out for you so that you understand what you're talking about. The
Councillors,
ESP
please.
target.
No, not you, councillors. Can we listen?
The ESP, who actually is it for? It is meant for the unemployed, it is meant for the youth, it is meant for people with disability, it's also meant for military veterans, women and children, including senior citizens and displaced persons. Now, who qualify for these packages? This is very important information that you must know, so that when you go and throw allegations, at least you speak facts. You must be a South African citizen. You must reside within the city of Johannesburg boundaries. You must be unemployed or have a monthly income to finance resources not exceeding 6,281 rand 13 cents per month. Which documents are required? It's an identity document, proof of income, your SASSA card, or produce bank statement for the last 3 months. You must bring your proof of residence, the City of Johannesburg rates and taxes account, and you must also bring City Power prepaid meter account number, as well as City Power conventional account number, Eskom prepaid electricity account number, and as well as Johannesburg water account. This is what is required for you to apply. So what are the benefits? The benefit is for water subsidy, electricity subsidy, and other rebates which include non-metered services referred to the table below. Speaker, the two departments have performed very well, and I think it's really not right for people to come here and speak things that are not true. Give credit where it's due. Since we've been in this department, we've done nothing but work that can actually speak for itself. I didn't have to stand here today to speak about that, but the work that we put in the departments, they actually speak on behalf of ourselves. Let me also speak, Speaker, on the issue of HIV and AIDS. For those that don't know, we are getting grants from the provincial government. And with that, currently, for the first time ever since they've been MMCs, we were able to reach a target of immunization, which has never been reached, even by the previous MMCs. So please, something else, not lies. Nyabonga, Speaker.
Thank you. Member in charge, Chair Ahmed. Councillor Zita. Councillor Zita, please. Allow Chair Ahmed.
Thank you, Speaker. On behalf of the committee...
Speak into the mic, please.
On behalf
Chair.
of the committee, I'd like Council to note and approve the reports. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair. The recommendations are on page 13.18, 14.4, 15.15. Are the items agreed to? Thank you, councillors.
Councillors, we are moving on with item 16, and that is the performance assessment report for Human Settlement Department for the 2024-25 financial year for the period January to March 2025, read with item 17. And that's the performance assessment report for the Johannesburg Social Housing Company for the 2024-25 financial year for the period January to March 2025. And the above items read with item 18, and which is the oversight report of the Human Settlement Section 79 Committee on the 2024-25 third quarter performance assessment report of the Department of Human Settlement and the Johannesburg Social Housing Company for the period January to March 2025.
Member in charge, Chair M. Mpolowasha.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. On the behalf of Women Settlement Section 79 committees, I rise to table items 16 and 17 and 18. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member in charge. Good. Councillor M. Cook.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to speak to the performance and oversight reports of the Department of Human Settlements and the Johannesburg Social Housing Company, two entities that sit at the heart of delivering justice to those communities who suffered the most under apartheid spatial planning. There are areas of progress we must acknowledge. Title deeds were issued, units were handed over in Riverside View and in Luferong. Joshco managed to create over 860 work opportunities, evidence that programs can work when properly supported and implemented. But this quarter's performance also reveals profound structural failures. Over half of the department's KPIs were not achieved. No hostels, flats, or senior rental units were rehabilitated in this time, and zero market gap sites were delivered. These aren't just targets that are missed. These are communities that we are leaving behind again. Speaker, Joshco is now in serious financial distress, a deficit of 357 million rand, a solvency ratio of below 0.5, and just 16% resolution of AGSA findings paint a picture of risk that must concern every councillor in this chamber. This is about the integrity of one of our most vital public housing institutions. While the department exceeded water and electricity targets for informal settlements, the complete failure to deliver sanitation and the reasons cited reflect a system unable to navigate regulatory and budgetary backlogs fast enough to meet the urgent needs of the Johannesburg people. I do, however, and good, supports the Section 79 Oversight Committee's recommendations. However, we must realize that oversight without consequence is theatre. We must demand implementation timelines and regular reporting so that communities know that this council takes accountability seriously. Housing is not a spreadsheet issue. It is a human right. We must align our budget, our strategy, and we must deliver muscle to that principle. Because when we fail in these departments, we are failing the most vulnerable residents of Johannesburg. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Action essay, Councillor Matabane.
Thank you, Speaker. Greetings once more. Greetings to fellow councillors, but most importantly to the residents of the city of Joburg. I rise to speak on items 16, 17, and 18, Human Settlements and Johannesburg Social Housing Company. Speaker, the Department of Human Settlement plays such a crucial role in the community and the well-being of human beings. It is proven that your environment and where you lay your head at night contributes so much to how you think and what you do. The question stands, what kind of a Joburg do we envision? What kind of a South Africa do we envision? The state of hostels, flats, and city-owned nursing homes is a clear indication of how much we don't care about the most vulnerable people in our communities. The informal settlements where our very own South Africans are living are without electricity and water, and that is a big concern. Long-standing, incomplete, and halted housing development projects remain a persistent concern. Issues of structural decay and lack of management in many of the city facilities across all regions remain a concern. As Action SA, we believe that the department can do so much better. We also want to applaud the department for trying to resolve the issue of title deeds. We also want to commend Joshko for their efforts in engaging the communities to encourage them to pay rent, including businesses operating in Joshko buildings and complying with the requirements. However, we still want to see Joshko collecting and addressing lawlessness across all their facilities. With that being said, Action SA notes the report.
Thank you, Councillor. DA Councillor S. Rambane.
Thank you very much, Speaker. All protocol observed. Speaker, when I joined the Human Settlement Committee in 2023, I found the incompetent MMC from the Patriotic Alliance. I researched how she got the position, and the answer I got matches the party that deployed her. I was happy when the former incompetent mayor replaced her with Councillor Mabaso. Speaker and fellow councillors, I hereby outline the reason why I have lost confidence in the current MMC. Since his powers are delegated by executive mayor, I can confidently say that I have lost confidence in the GLU and their running of the city of Johannesburg. Speaker, the report has been slow in coming. According to the MFMA section 52D, within 30 days of the end of each quarter, submit the report to council and the implementation of the budget and the financial state of affairs. How can we properly scrutinize the non-achieved target from quarter 3 when the department can just say they have fixed said issue in quarter 4? This is why report need to be disseminated within 30 days and be debated in due time in order to hold the department accountable. The way it is done now, it quells debate, and we are unable to properly hold the department and the executive to account. This delay in receiving report is an illustration of the GLU governing of the city. Next week, we are sitting on the strat plans for the new financial year, yet we have not received and debated on quarter 4 reports. Speaker, the following is what we have observed in quarter 3 reports. Actual capital expenditure for the quarter ended 30 March 2025 was 372 million rand. This represents 50% of the overall annual budget. There are still various factors that continue to affect project budget constraints, poor contractor performance, and environmental requirement resulting in lengthy authorization processes. What are those factors that are affecting projects? Has the department sorted out those constraints, or will I be seeing the same in the quarter 4 reports? The report further reads, fourth quarter implementation will focus on financial catch-up measures and project reprioritization. When will we be given the quarter 4 report in order to see if the department has caught up as it is stated in quarter 3? Do you see why it is necessary for us to receive the report on time, Madam Speaker? The way things are done, we are unable to adequately carry out our duties of holding the department and executive to account. Madam Speaker, the residents are counting on us to hold this executive to account, as it is consistently will not or cannot deliver service to residents. The department achieved less target on their 21 KPIs target at 44.5%. 11 targets were not achieved at 55.5%. According to the report, some of those targets were not achieved, were not met due to budget constraints facing the department. How can we accurately debate on the financial health of the department when we, the people meant to hold it accountable, are shackled with the lack of information? Some of the targets not met by the department have not been achieved again, and this has been happening for multiple quarters. This is the problem that the department needs to address urgently. Target not achieved, number of informal settlement household provide with sanitation. The department has set a target of 750 for this KPI, and they have achieved 0. Reason, Joburg Water conducted assessment, the extent of infrastructure and need to be installed has triggered environmental assessment constraints that causing delay in the provision of the service required. This was the reasoning for not achieving this target. This is the 4th consecutive quarter that the department has been unable to achieve this target. The reason for non-achievement is the same reason given for non-achievement in the previous quarter. Yet, we were told it will be addressed in quarter 3. It was not addressed in quarter 3. And when will we even get quarter 4 in order to continue taking this issue? And I can promise you now that we are going to get the very same report. Number of mixed housing units constructed, quarter 2, it is stated that this KPI will be monitored and be revisited in quarter 3. And now it states the reasoning for non-achievement of KPI was due to tripartite agreements. Now that agreement has been finalized, work should commence. The reasoning was given for quarter 2 was the status of the tripartite agreement in quarter 3 will get another excuse. The department did not achieve the target due to significant USDG budget reduction, which have impacted the installation of bulk and internal infrastructure required to unlock construction in several sites. This KPI will have to be monitored to see how the department make up for the USDG reduction. We have asked for the plan, but dollar. Percentages of department capital budget spent. The underperformance in the capital expenditure was mainly due to delays in procurement processes. Some of the invoices submitted were not in alignment with the projection, which resulted in delaying of payment. What does this statement mean? The department has a tendency to give those excuses without explaining exactly what was not in alignment with the projection. This is a further illustration of how the department operates. Number of hostels rehabilitated. The budget allocated for executing this hostel rehabilitation work planned for the 2024-25 financial year, but nothing has been achieved. I have actually done an oversight and I found nothing has been done. Target not achieved, number of flats rehabilitated. The KPI will have to be monitored and revisited in quarter 4 as its achievement will be determined by the department and the city financial health. The city does not have money. Where are we going to get that money? As it stands, Madam Speaker, we are waiting for quarter 4 report. Number of senior citizen renters rehabilitated. Annieberger and Riven. The project will not be achieved this financial year due to the non-performance of the appointed consultant. The contracts of the consultant will be terminated, and a new service provider is to be appointed to conclude these projects. In Joshua, we find that there is a risk which we have seen in quarter 2 and quarter 3, and also in quarter 4 and quarter 1, quarter 3. For 6 consecutive quarters, that risk has not been achieved. That risk, we call it there has been no change in the risk.
Your time is up. Your time is up, Councillor Mosetla. Councillor Rambane, your time is up. Thank you. EFF, I'm not sure, is it Netemba? On the page, it is Nenemba.
No, it's in Nenemba, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Speaker. Allow me to send my revolutionary greetings to our Chief Whip, Tabisa Mhapi, our caucus leader, Dr. Tswako, not forgetting the fearless EFF 29 battalions and fellow councillors and the residents of the city of Johannesburg. Speaker, the economic freedom fighters note and acknowledge this quarterly report, and we wish to express appreciation to the efforts made by the MMC and the officials in the department. We recognize that despite legal challenges, environmental limitations, and budgetary constraints which hindered the achievement of certain KPIs, but progress was still made. Speaker, despite these obstacles, there were notable achievements by the department in this quarter, including 1, the issuing of title deeds to the residents of the city of Johannesburg. 2, the completion and allocation of housing units in Riverside View Phase 3 and Lufereng Extension 5. And most importantly, the launch of public participation process for the informal settlement policy. Speaker, the EFF applauds the department for initiating the public participation process for informal settlements. This has empowered the residents of Johannesburg to contribute meaningfully to how the city addresses the living conditions in the informal settlements, especially in the provision of electricity, roads, water, and sanitation. Speaker, we further welcome the slight improvement in the rent collection within the JOSCO stocks. We recognize this is one of the entity ongoing challenges. However, JOSCO continues to face serious issues such as delays in payments to SMMEs, which in turn impact service delivered to the people of Johannesburg. We strongly appeal to JOSCO to find alternative support mechanism for child-headed households and those who are unemployed and unable to pay rent rather than resorting to eviction. Speaker, the EFF is fully aware that JOSCO is not a profit-driven entity. However, we will continue to encourage tenants to pay rent regularly to ensure the survival and sustainability of this entity. Therefore, we call on the department to intervene in cases where tenants have formed groups to deliberately withhold rent despite being able to pay. Speaker, we also call upon Joburg, JPC to urgently identify all hijacked buildings within the city of Johannesburg. There must be a coordinated effort between human settlement, JPC, public safety, to reclaim these buildings from criminal syndicates and convert them into student accommodation and low-income rental units. Speaker, the EFF has previously tabled a motion in this very council to reclaim buildings and convert them into student accommodation. We're still waiting for the implementation of the motion and urge the administration not to delay any further. In conclusion, the EFF remains committed to defending the dignity of the people of Johannesburg we will continue to hold the administration accountable while also support progressive efforts that seek to improve the lives of
Your
our
time is
people.
up, Councillor.
Thank you very much, Speaker.
PA Councillor, Councillor Mokwena.
Greetings, Madam Speaker, Executive Mayor, Chief Whip of Council, Joburg 10 caucus, fellow councillors, and distinguished guests. All protocol observed. Madam Speaker, I rise on items 16, 17, and 18. Let us not sugarcoat things.
Councillor, speaking to the mic, please. Slightly louder.
Okay. Let us not sugarcoat this. There has been no meaningful progress in delivering housing to our people. No progress, no homes. Year after year, our residents wait for homes, and year after year, all they get is empty promises and dust. The only visible improvement are on rental stock, while our new RDP housing units have not been delivered. Province has transferred properties to the city with funding allocated specifically for development, and yet these properties remain undeveloped and unallocated. But for the poor, title deeds remain a deemed deferred, while red tape and political interference keep reality out of reach. Political environment is directly stalling housing delivery. It is clear that the rapid land release program is not applied equally across the city, and we must speak plainly. Certain areas are ignored while others are allowed to mushroom with no accountability. Residents of Maxwell Court are still trapped in inhumane conditions, no movement, no communication, just silence from a state that has abandoned them. Container housing in Alexandra and Marlborough sits empty, built, then forgotten. Our people, desperate for shelter, are told to wait longer. For what? In Jabulani, critical infrastructure challenges block solution for most vulnerable, the elderly, the disabled, the poor, and no agency is shown to resolve these barriers. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, Patriotic Alliance the Patriotic Alliance raises not just to note the report, but to challenge it, because not a single poor family has moved into a decent home this quarter, because South Africans remain at the back of the queue in their own country, because the dignity of our people is not negotiable. We are tired of delays, tired of excuses on Spizani. We demand action, not plans. We demand housing, not handovers. We demand justice for our people. I thank you. Salute.
Thank you. Councillor Zigebe, UDM. Okay, he's not here. Councillor Harris, ACDP.
Good afternoon, Madam Speaker, Executive Mayor, MMCs, chairpersons, councillors. I greet you all in the precious name of our Lord and Savior. I rise to speak on items 16, 17, and 18, the Human Settlements and JOSHCO reports. The department reports that there are persistent challenges in budgetary constraints, infrastructure delivery, and environmental approvals. These challenges have impeded the achievement of several key performance indicators. There is a proposal for an urban development framework for a precinct along the main reef strip in Roodepoort. It is a known fact that the area is unstable because of mining activity, legal and illegal, in the area. Is it wise to spend resources on an area that is prone to a host of environmental challenges, including the prospect of having to deal with dolomitic pockets in that area? Another concern is the delay in the upgrading of informal settlements. We understand grant funding is made available, but the bulk of these funds are spent on the provision of water and electricity to informal settlements. At what stage will plans and budgets be put in place to provide decent low-cost housing, even if only to pressurize the Gauteng provincial government to speed up the delivery of low-cost housing? Actual capital expenditure for the quarter ended 30th of March 2025 was 372 million. This represents 50% of the overall annual budget. Various factors continue to affect projects. These are listed as budget constraints, poor contractor performance, and environmental requirements resulting in lengthy authorization processes. The department faces increasing demands for infrastructure rehabilitation, including hostels, flats, and senior citizen rentals, and repairs and maintenance of public housing stock. One reason provided for non-delivery, again, is budgetary constraints. It is distressing to read about this when, at the very least, the ACDP has been calling for more funds to be made available for the repairs, maintenance, and upkeep of council-owned stock. The ordinary man in the street will ask why hundreds of millions of rands is made available to upgrade informal settlements, yet there is no money for the city to make good on its mandate to provide decent housing for those trapped in these estates owned by the city. Joshko is facing some difficulties, and those include lower rental collections, rent boycotts, and residents demanding ownership. The entity is in total trouble. It has assets of 1.3 billion rand and an overdraft of 1.6 billion rand. This is unsustainable. The finance costs were 94.1 million rand versus a budget of 750,000 rand. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. ANC Councillor X Kumalo.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Greetings to you. Greetings to the Executive Mayor. Greetings to the Chief Whip, Nyamagaishi. Greetings to Chair of Chairs, Councillor Marema, fellow councillors. Special greetings to Ward 63 residents. Madam Speaker, I rise to speak to items 16, 17, and 18. As African National Congress, we note the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. MMC Mabaso.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Greetings to yourself, the Executive Mayor, the MMCs, and all the colleagues that are in the chamber. Speaker, because I don't want to sound like a broken record, I will attempt to respond in a different way this time around. Considering that, Speaker, when we were considering the second quarter, I did indicate some of the challenges that the department had encountered around the budget reduction. And I think, Speaker, because all the councillors that have commented on the report, they were present in a council where a report from finance was approved in this chamber. So I'm not going to repeat myself on those challenges because they are well aware, especially those that serves in the Human Settlements Committee. But I do wish also, Speaker, to indicate that in all the projects, there is what we call a project preparation. And I did indicate in the committee that some of the projects that were incorporated in the business plan were not ready for implementation. And the process had to be commenced during the first and the second quarter of the financial year, of which they will not be ready for implementation and completion in the current financial year. So, and they are well aware of that. But it all starts with the budget, Speaker. And the targets that we have are in line with the resources that are allocated in the department. So if the projects are in the business plan and there is no budget for them, they will not be implemented and we will not going to achieve them. And colleagues that serves in the committee, they are well aware of that. And that's why I'm saying that I'm not going to repeat myself to sound like a broken record in this chamber. But Speaker, I do wish to indicate that we have not received any allocation from province. All the grants that are allocated in Johannesburg are accepted by council. And I'm always present in council. So this notion that there is money that we have received from province to build houses, I don't know where it comes from, because we have not received any money from the provincial government. What happens is that, Speaker, because we've got accreditation level 2, which makes us developers, we receive a grant for a bulk infrastructure in the development. So the expectation is that province must then allocate HSDG, of which they don't. They sign tripartite agreements with the developers and they pay direct to the developers. So meaning that, as the city of Johannesburg, we are not the ones building houses. It's the provincial government. We only put in bulk infrastructure. So even this KPI, on the construction of houses, it's misplaced in our business plan because we are not the ones to build houses. It's the provincial government. We only put in the money for bulk infrastructure in a form of a USDG. So to come here and say we've received money to build houses and we have not built any houses, I mean, that narrative is misplaced and it shouldn't exist currently in this current arrangement because we have not received anything from the provincial government. Speaker, the grants for informal settlements, if you read the policy, because I think it's also important for us to familiarize ourselves with the processes of human settlements. The grant is not for low-cost houses, and the grant is not for the construction of houses. The grant is for the provision of infrastructure in the informal settlement. And that's what we are doing through these processes of formalizing and upgrading our informal settlements. But the unfortunate reality is that when the business plan was approved in council for this current financial year, projects that were included there, they were not ready for implementation. Hence, some of them got delayed because they triggered environmental authorization and we had to wait for the authorization from the national government. And colleagues are aware of that because I've raised those issues on numerous occasions and I'm failing to understand why they are raising them today. So I just so cool for the sake of wasting his council. The last speaker that I want to talk to, before that, Speaker, in the very same report, there were allocations that were done during the third quarter in Riverside and Lufering. So this notion as well to say people have not received houses in Johannesburg does not exist. Because even in the report, it is indicated that there are houses that have been allocated. Because there are houses that province have built in this city and we have been able to allocate those houses. And it is there in the report. And I think it's imperative to read before you come and debate in this council.
4 seconds left, MMC.
Okay, give me 6 more because I need to respond to the issues of container. Speaker, I just want to say this because as public representatives, we've got a collective responsibility to protect the interest of council. The containers in Marlborough, they were vandalized. The city had to reinvest in fixing the vandalism. In the process of that, they got vandalized again. So the city had to go and mobilize resources to go and fix them. Now they are being vandalized. And there is no money. There is no money. So it can't be why from this side because they couldn't even support the budget.
Colleagues, you've had your chance, please. Can we allow the MMC to respond?
So, Speaker, there are elements of criminality that are happening on the ground. And if we do not protect the interest of council and the properties of council, we'll forever pumping money on projects that are not completed. So currently we've got 24 million that is allocated for this financial year, current financial year. In the previous financial year, there was zero budget allocated for containers. And yes, the expectation is that the containers must be completed. So now we've got 24 million. When the assessment was done after the invasion and in last year, the report indicated that we need 70 million to complete. So we've got an allocation of 24 million. So when we are in a process of getting contractors to complete those containers, they get vandalized again. So we'll do an assessment, and the money will escalate even further beyond 70 million. And money that we do not have in our coffers, the department, because what has been approved here is 24 million. So we've got a responsibility to protect and also to communicate the same information to the residents, so that at least the residents are aware of what is happening there. Because this thing of vandalizing our properties on pretense that they want them to be completed so that they get to be allocated to people that are in need of houses.
Seconds are gone.
But I needed to finish this one, Speaker.
Okay.
Because
I'm allowing him because there was a councillor that did not take up all his time. So I'm allocating that to
this one. This one is important, Speaker. So now, Speaker, the department is going to go back. And even during the IDP, I did engage with the residents of Marlborough, and I explained them the process in details on how we are planning to deal with issues of containers there. So those that do not attend IDP meetings will come here and grandstand and pretend as if people on the ground are not aware of what is happening. Who have communicated, councillors are aware, the residents are aware, especially those that participate in the meetings that are called by the city of Johannesburg.
Thank you, MMC.
Thank you very much, Speaker.
Colleagues, I thought it was very important what he was explaining. And there was questions that really needed to be responded to. And that was the reason why I gave the MMC the extra time to give. Member in charge, Councillor Mpolobosho.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. On behalf of Section 79, Committee Human Settlement, I ask the Council to note the report. Thank you very much.
Councillors, the recommendations are on page 16.3, 17.8, and 18.7 are the items agreed to. Thank you.
Councillors, we are on item 19, and that is the performance assessment report for Public Safety Department for the 2024-25 financial year for the period January to March 2025, read with item 20, which is the oversight report of the Section 79 Public Safety Committee on the 2024-25 third quarter performance assessment report of the Department of Public Safety for the period January to March 2025.
Thank you. Member in charge, Councillor Whistler.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mayor Dada Marrero, Chief Whip of Council, MMCs, Chairpersons of Section 79s, Councillors and guests in the gallery. I rise to table the third quarter performance report for the Section 79 Public Safety Committee for the 2024-2025 financial year, which is item 19 and item 20. Thank you.
Thank you, Member in charge. Freedom Front Plus, Councillor R. Pelzer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. All protocols observed. The Public Safety Department achieved 18 out of 22 KPIs. These specific KPIs were also not achieved in quarter 2. I need to stipulate these key performance indicators. Number 1, reduction of bylaw infringement as the result of the number of bylaw operations. Number 2, reduction in criminal activities as a result of number of arrests affected. Number 3, percentage reduction of loss and theft of assets. And number 4, the number of IIOC technology-driven interventions implemented. All not achieved. All key functions in protecting the residents of Johannesburg not achieved. These indicators are key, and the department did not achieve these indicators in quarter 2 and 3, which means they have not achieved key performance indicators for half of the year. Alarming at best. Surely the department should initiate action to fix this as soon as possible, because something is broken. The ward-based policing program is yet to be seen on ground level. It remains a pie in the sky. We know there is an absence of enough resources to fully implement ward-based policing. But surely the pie in the sky must come down to the people. Otherwise, it is not a ward-based policing program, but rather a ward-based policing dream. Madam Speaker, my next concern is the over-expenditure of 30.935 million rand on operating expenses. The short and the sweet answer from the department is that this over-expenditure is salaries and wages. How and when will we see the expenses on salaries get in line with the budget? Over-expenditure on salaries by 30.935 million rand. How? In closing, Madam Speaker, there were 72 fraud and corruption cases reported under JMPD. Let that sink in. 72 fraud and corruption cases and investigations initiated thereon. This is from and within the department tasked to protect the public, hence the Public Safety Department. Food for thought. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. Action SA, Councillor Durant.
Good afternoon, Madam Speaker, members of Council, all protocol observed. I rise to speak on items 19 and 20, third quarter performance reports. I would like to start, Madam Speaker, on congratulating JMPD and TRU on the successful apprehension of the 3 suspects of gang violence in Eldorado Park and the incidental find of a kidnapping in progress on the highway. What a save. This shows pure passion for the job of policing. The wins, no matter how big or small, do not go unnoticed. Overspend and misplaced priorities. We read that this department is committed to good governance and financial sustainability. On paper, that sounds impressive, even reassuring. But behind the glossy reports and crafted representations lies a troubling reality. This department has overspent by 30 million. I must ask, how do we define good governance when we cannot live within our means? What does financial sustainability mean when the very system meant to ensure efficiency are bleeding resources? We should not be celebrating mission statements while critical questions remain unanswered. Do all security personnel have their tools of trade? Are they equipped, trained, and protected, or are they being sent into dangerous situations ill-prepared? Is Netcare Mill Park Hospital paid up? What about their allied partners who provide essential medical support? Or are we risking the lives of our personnel and residents by failing to honor our financial obligations? These are not minor oversights. We look forward to the full report of expenditure. Action SA notes the reports with concerns mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. ACDP, Councillor Rawlson.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and greetings to you again, and all protocols observed. Madam Speaker, I rise on item 19, Performance Assessment Report for the Public Safety Department for the 2024-2025 financial year and for the period of January to March 2025. Madam Speaker, the leading cause of fatalities on our roads are caused by excessive speed. Over 1.1 million speed-related violations were recorded, with the highest numbers reported in Johannesburg, 298,102 cases, Roodepoort 344,173 cases, and Sandton 336,752 cases. The ACDP is extremely concerned about these very high numbers and urges the JMPD to take much tougher action against the perpetrators of these crimes, as the individuals do not only endanger themselves, but other road users. Madam Speaker, I have personally spoken to an individual who stood in a queue of individuals that had been charged with breaking the law, and he personally witnessed every single person standing in the queue being released after having paid a bribe. This is totally unacceptable, and the ACDP calls on JMPD management to take decisive actions against all those who take part in these crimes. There must be effective consequences for all those who both pay the bribe and who receive the bribes. Currently, many people treat our laws with contempt, as they know they can get away with it, and this can no longer be tolerated anymore. God bless South Africa. God bless the sovereign state of Israel. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Olsen. DA, Councillor Maila.
Madam Speaker, Your Worship, the Executive Mayor, the Honorable, the Leader of the Official Opposition, the Honorable, the Whip of Council, esteemed members of Council, the Acting City Manager and the Executive Management Team, the people of Johannesburg, greetings and salutations. We are a country of laws, and we implement laws for public safety all the time. Our seatbelt laws, our stop sign laws, our red light laws. In the absence of those laws, you have lawlessness. You have disorder. You can't really have a functional city. These sobering words come from Francis Xavier Suarez, an American lawyer and a politician who has served as the 43rd mayor of Miami, Florida, since 2017. I am certain that you would have concluded, had I not revealed the origin of this quote, that these words came from one of the 6 million residents of the city of Johannesburg. I say this because you know, as I do, that we congregate in this chamber every 3 months or so because we are legally obligated to so do. Only to listen to the executive arm of council telling us the same things they tell us every time we are invited here as elected representatives of the people of Johannesburg. Madam Speaker, we have an executive that won't tell us that Johannesburg is possibly the only major city in the world that does not have a comprehensive, data-driven, evidence-based and fully costed crime prevention strategy or public safety plan to ensure that all our residents are and feel safe. We have an executive, Madam Speaker, that is not telling us that this third quarter performance report coincides with the fourth quarter crime statistics compiled by the South African Police Service, which were released in May 2025 by the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mchunu, who is now on a taxpayer-funded long holiday somewhere along the coastline of the Indian Ocean. These crime statistics, Madam Speaker, revealed that 7 of the top 30 high-contact crime police stations in our country are located in the city of Johannesburg. What this executive is not telling us is that the Gauteng Safety Agreement between the South African Police Service and the 3 metropolitan police departments in the province, a memorandum of understanding on integrated cross-border law enforcement operations, whose aim is to improve the coordination and impact of crime prevention efforts, is not yielding the desired results. We now know, Madam Speaker, from what Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi told us recently, that drug peddling criminal syndicates have not only infiltrated the South African Police Service, but also the Johannesburg Metropolitan Police Department under this coalition government. What this executive will not tell us, Madam Speaker, is that effective policing coordination and collaboration in the province is difficult because we have a premier who is doubling as MEC responsible for policing, contrary to the provisions of Section 206, subsection 8 of the Constitution of the Republic. What we are not told, Madam Speaker, is that a whole-of-society approach to community policing in the city is almost non-existent because the JMPD is not represented on the CPFs established by the Provincial Commissioner of Police at each of the 43 police stations in the city, in keeping with the provisions of Section 19, subsection 1 of the South African Police Service Act 68 of 1995, which President Nelson Mandela signed into law in October of 1995. What this executive is not telling you, the people of Johannesburg, is that there is hardly any police visibility in Orange Farm, which has the highest number of murder cases reported to the South African Police Service in the province. We are not told by this executive, Madam Speaker, that the deployment of 10 JMPD officers in each of the city's 135 wards as part of the much talked about ward-based policing is impossible. We are not able to deploy the requisite numbers in the wards because this executive has failed to make the substantial financial allocations to the department necessary to enable the JMPD to recruit at least 1,000 new police officers annually as part of its crime prevention and bylaw enforcement mandate, in keeping with the provisions of Section 64, capital E of the SAPS Amendment Act 83 of 1998. What this executive will not tell us is that they are dismal at contract management to a point that they are unable to pay the private hospitals that treat our own police officers who get injured in the line of duty as the fight against serious and violent criminals who are terrorizing our communities with absolute impunity. We are not told by this executive, Madam Speaker, that the police vehicles that the city leases from the private sector are regularly grounded due to non-payment. As to why the city is not buying its own police vehicles instead of leasing them from the private sector at exorbitant prices, only this coalition knows. But all is not lost, Madam Speaker. The 2026 local government elections are virtually around the corner. The DA stands ready to replace this shambolic coalition, which has lost even the confidence of the president, who told the country and the world, right here in this very chamber, just how badly managed the city is under this coalition. The DA has proven where it governs, either on its own or in coalition with others, that we do govern better.
27 seconds.
That is why the DA-run Midval local municipality remains the only municipality in Gauteng with 11 consecutive clean audit opinions from the Auditor General of the Republic of South Africa. As Nelson Mandela told us, it is in our hands. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Mokoena from the EFF.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Greetings to the Speaker. The revolutionary battalions of the economic freedom fighters, led by caucus leader, Commissar Dr. Mgini Twaku, and Chief Whip Tabisa Mohapi, fellow councillors, officials, and the residents of our beloved city. Speaker, we will begin by commending the Department of Public Safety for its decisive and visible performance during the third quarter. The JMPD enforcement work was relentless. Over 3,900 enforcement operations, 529 crime prevention deployments, 137 special interventions, and more than 1,500 arrests, including for serious offenses such as attempted murder, illegal possession of firearms, and robbery. These are not just numbers. They are a signal of criminal that Johannesburg will not be surrendered to lawlessness. We also acknowledge the department's overachievement in licensing department revenue of 363 million collected against a target of 320 million, as well as the overperformance in drug-related search and seizures operations, traffic enforcement, and the inspection of high-risk installations such as buildings with flammable substances. The rollout of smart licensing units and the successful public management and large-scale events, from football matches to community festivals, and reflects improved operational coordination. Speaker, the department's commitment of public safety aligns with the EFF Cardinal Pillar number 7, the pursuit of open, accountable, and people-centered governance. But accountability also demands that we highlight where things went wrong. The department failed to achieve 4 of its 22 KPIs, notably in areas such as the reduction of criminal activities based on arrest, bylaws infringement, asset loss prevention, and technology-driven crime intervention. These are critical deliverables. When you fail to reduce crime despite massive operation, it suggests a gap between action and impact. Arrest must translate into safer communities. We are disappointed that no employment equity performance was reported. This is not a technical omission. It is a strategic failure. Employment equity is not a box-ticking exercise. It is a constitutional obligation to transform our workforce to reflect the demographics of our people, especially women, youth, and persons with disabilities. Speaker, the EFF recommend the following: that a correct plan to be tabled to address the underperformance in the KPIs, particularly relating to crime reduction and intelligence operation. Secondly, that by the next quarter, a full employment equity report is submitted, including disaggregated data by race, gender, and disability. In conclusion, Speaker, we know the report and agree with the recommendation of the public safety, but, in conclusion, Speaker, we know the report and agree with the recommendation of the public safety. As the EFF will continue to exercise vigilance in holding department accountable while remaining unwavering in our fight for a safer, equitable, and just Johannesburg. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mokoena. The PA, Councillor Ponsonby.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thanks to the PA councillors and all councillors, MMCs, Mayor. The PA notes this. But I just want to say from the part of Elders MMC, thanks for your intervention. Thanks for TRU's intervention in our area. We know our area is filled with gun violence and gangsterism. We just want to say thanks for your intervention. It yielded good results, actually better than our local SEPs. However, let's clap our hands for once. This has been a boring day. So, thank you very much, sir. However, I think we should just beef up our bylaw, especially based on illegal traders. They are now found to be undocumented foreigners, and they are taking over our sidewalks, they're taking over our towns and cities, and we need to come down on them like thunder. And I thank you. The PA notes this report. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Ponsonby. ANC, Councillor Ney. Is Councillor Ney here? Your chance.
Madam Speaker, Councillor Mgaga will replace me as the Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mgaga. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mbulise Guwe, the Executive Mayor, Comrade ESD Morero, the residents of the city of Johannesburg, and all protocol observed, greetings and salutations. Madam Speaker, I rise to address item 19, which reviews the performance of the Department of Public Safety for the period of January to March 2025. As the report, Madam Speaker, details how the municipality intends to keep safety and security in the city of Johannesburg. The ANC would like to commend the department for their persistent efforts to maintain law and order in the city, because the focus, Madam Speaker, among others, must be about, one, the maintenance of infrastructure to ensure proper functioning of street lights, traffic signals, and other infrastructure key to public safety. And two, Madam Speaker, law enforcement capacity. The department must ensure, Speaker, that bylaws are enforced and obviously observed. Accidents and any other type of criminal activities must be successfully responded to so that safer communities in the municipality are built through fostered partnerships. Ngoba, Speaker, the focus of the African National Congress, which is the January 8 movement, is on realism and legitimacy. And evident to that, Speaker, is what was articulated on the soccer speech by our executive mayor when he introduced the bomb squad to maintain, among others, community concerns and public order, so that we bring stability in the city of Johannesburg. The fostering of partnerships, Speaker, the community, the spirit of community, the spirit of Ubuntu, and the spirit of hard work is required to deal with problems of crime and lawlessness. The ANC therefore says akwakhiwe imiphakathi ephephileyo. Lokho, Speaker, kuyobandakanya inhlaka zomphakathi ezilwisana nobugebengu, inhlangano ezingenza inzuzo, ama-NPOs, the NGOs and FBOs. the community policing forums, and the South African Police Services. So that we create a safer environment for all in the city. Uma kudilwa ke ngama issues we crime, Speaker, ubelelesi nokungabi nomthetho, the department must intervene and intensify their programs on joint operations and ward-based policing programs. Ngalokho ke Speaker sichaza ukuthi i-department ayitshale phela o-officers bawo kuwo wonke ama-ward angu-135 edolobheni laseGoli. As I conclude, my honorable Speaker, ukubhekana nje ngqo nobugebengu la in Jozi Maboneng, leyo kuyinto kakhongolose. As we are attached, Speaker, to accountability, monitoring and reporting, so that we restore pride and fairness to our communities. Ngizobe ngingakaqedi ke Speaker if angiveza ukuthi inhlangano kaKhongolose is radically and speedily calling for the department to investigate and look into the issues of safety for all our councillors. Therefore, the ANC notes the report. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Councillor. MMC Twako.
No, thank you very much, Speaker. Good evening to all the councillors of the EFF, the whip of the EFF, also the whip of the ANC, chair of chairs, and all the councillors that are here today, my MMCs, actually all the councillors that are here in this. I'm not going to degenerate, Speaker, to to a very low level, but I just want to speak to the facts, and I agree that we have to deal with the issues of bylaw, okay? I agree with that, okay? And what we've done now is we've hired a director of bylaw, which is Director Fortin. We were spending a lot of time trying to stabilize the JMPD. That's why we've hired now a commissioner. We are taking him through, he's settling in. We are out there now in terms of ensuring that there's no contestation of power, because when people are contesting on power, it destabilizes the whole project or the focus in terms of fighting crime. So we had a workshop of which we'll share the report with everyone in terms of how are we going to be approaching the bylaw enforcement. That's that workshop, because we've decided that people, they don't understand what is bylaw enforcement actually. Like who does what where. That's what we have to decipher in that meeting. So we've called all, thank you to the MMCs, they send their representatives. We're also working with Cllr, all of us, in terms of how we're going to do this thing. Because first, before you can enforce a bylaw, you need to inspect first. There must be an inspection, there must be all those kind of things before you can really do the enforcement. So we are looking into that, colleagues. And I know that some of the councillors that are here, they've been very helpful in terms of identifying those hanging fruits. We are dealing with them step by step. So we are all there. And I don't want to put any politics, because I think that we have to enforce this bylaw. For example, the issues of the traders. I know from MMC Mnisi, she's going to be launching soon the permits, so that we can say the people are going to be, people will be trading here. So that when JMPD comes in and remove them, they don't have to do that, they must have that. So I'm depending on her to do that. Also had an engagement with the guys from MMC Mgcina, Eunice, in terms of building control. So we've been talking to them, and outdoor as well, because there's been a lot of illegal outdoor advertisement that has been happening out there. So we're relying on to JPC and my colleagues also from planning to say who is legal here or not. So it's a whole chain. So we have that report. They say it's going to be ready for me. HOD, I hope is listening on Friday in terms of the approach on the bylaws. So we are, colleagues, worried about that. I agree. On the SEPs, on the crime stats, Councillor Moore, Siyazam, we've launched the TRU. I think that maybe, colleagues, you can agree there's a sense that something is happening. It's not a lot, but we are really trying. We've launched a TRU. We've got the K9 unit that is out there. Operations are there as well, trying their best in terms of really working. I've raised the issue of the IGR with the MEC. They are still launching on the other areas, but there is a program of action. We've raised that in terms of they need to come to Johannesburg and look at the hotspots. So, Councillor Moila, I've taken note of that. We're going to ensure that those kind of issues we are going to will be able to raise them. Colleagues, in the section 79 and in my meetings,
37 seconds left.
I agree that we must do the ward-based policing. Like we are trying now to have those 10 plus. That's why we're hiring 500 MPOs, and there are 500 MPOs. So if you must vote for the budget as well, so that we can get more money to hire more. So I said to the HOD that in the ward-based policing, there must be an oversight. So we're looking at councillors signing the roll call of the JMPD when they visit your wards. So we want to work on that. Section 79, we've heard your cries. We want to implement that so that you don't every time say that there's nothing that we're doing in the wards. Of course, it's not going to be 10 for now, but we want to have at least a vehicle of JMPD on that. The last one, we're just looking now at the radio room, because every time when you are answering, you are calling us, we don't, there's a problem. So we are working on that. So we are working on that. And the fraud and corruption, you can see that there are people that we've arrested. They've been taken to the internal affairs. So we are pushing on that. So I think I will stop there. Thank you very much, Public Safety, HOD, everyone that has been working very well. And also to the Section 79 chairperson. Homestead people, Homestead, we are coming. I know we've been waiting for long, Homestead people, and also the bowling park. We're going to sort it out. We just had a problem with the contract for the land occupation unit, so everything will be fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, MMC. Member in charge, Councillor Whistler. Councillor Whistler.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In view of these findings and observations, the committee recommends that Council approves the third quarter performance report for the Public Safety Department as outlined in the body of this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Member in charge. The recommendations are on pages 19.24 and 20.4. Are the items agreed to? Are we agreeing? Thank you. Councillors, we want to stop at 6, right? But we are looking at the agenda, and if we go to 21 to 24 and 25 to 26, it might take us up until 7. So what we want to do, we want to take the items that the legislature that was asked to be clustered from items 55, no? Just hold on. From items 56 to item 69, if we read them all in and we note them, then we come back tomorrow. Can we agree? Yes, Chair of Chairs. Chair of Chairs is on the podium.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I thought you would start from 25, 26, then jump to 56, according to how we have advised. Thank you.
Okay, we'll start with 25 to 26, and then we will go to those that are clustered so that we can close by 6. Latest will be 6:30. Okay, right, let's go to Secretary to Council.
All right, on item 25, we are looking at the second quarter report on the oversight activities of the Petition Standing Committee for the period October to December 2024. Also read with item 26, which is the third quarter report on the oversight activities of the Section 79 Petition Standing Committee for the period January to March 2025.
Member in charge, Councillor Mabuke. Is this one for noting?
Yes.
Just hold on, Councillor Mabuke. Chair of Chairs.
No, thank you very much, Speaker. Item 25, 26, together with that item 56 up to 69, they must be read into record for all of us to note them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll go to 56 and others. Thank you.
Item 56 is the Community Development Committee Oversight Report on Johannesburg Art Gallery. Also read with item 57, which is an oversight report on the Section 79 Corporate and Shared Services Committee on the oversight visit on Red Fleet in May 2025. Item 58 is an oversight visit report of the Section 79 Economic Development to Riverside View Mega House Development and Opportunity Center Mobile and Visitors Information Center on the 21st of May 2025. Also read with item 59, which is an oversight report of the Section 79 Environment and Infrastructure Services Committee on the site visit to Goedkopis and Robinson Deep Landfill site on the 17th of April 2025. Also read with item 60, and that's an oversight visit report on the Section 79 Finance Committee to Eureka House Revenue Center on the 15th of May 2025. Also item 61 is an oversight report on the HSD Section 79 Committee to Sinqobile Clinic in Region D on the 10th of April 2025. Also read with item 62, which is an oversight visit report of the HSD Section 79 Committee to Yeta Nathan Construction Site in Region D on the 10th of April 2025. Also read with item 63, which is an oversight visit report on the HSD Section 79 Committee to Protea South Clinic in Region D on the 10th of April 2025. Read also with item 64, and that is an oversight visit to Fleurhof Lifestyle Estate by the Section 79 Human Settlement Committee on the 20th of March 2025. Read with also item 65, which is an oversight visit to Joshua Fleurhof Junction project by the Section 79 Human Settlements Committee on the 29th of April 2025. Read also with item 66, which is an oversight report on the joint stakeholder engagement event post the oversight visit to the Metro Center building by the Oversight Committee on the Legislature, Corporate and Shared Services, Public Safety and Economic Development Committee in December 2024. Read also with item 67, which is an oversight visit of the Section 79 Public Safety Committee to Wema Complex, Palm, on the 13th of February 2025. Also read with item 68, which is an oversight visit of Section 79 Public Safety Committee to the Armory on the 13th of February 2025, and lastly read with item 69, which is a Section 79 Petition Standing Committee oversight visit to Alexandra on the 11th of March 2025.
Colleagues, can we note all these reports? Thank you. Colleagues, we are then at the end of today. We'll then come back tomorrow at 10 and finish the agenda. If we don't bicker and we don't do all the things we did today, we'll be able to finish in time. 9:45, we are seated and we carry on. Councillor?
Speaker, this morning you spoke about 2 urgency items that will be coming tomorrow.
Yes.
Do you know if they've been loaded on the drive? Because I couldn't find them.
They are on the drive. I checked. They are on the drive. I checked with it. They are on the drive. I asked twice. So they're on the drive. Colleagues, drive safely and sleep early so that we are here tomorrow at 10. Thank you.